This interview took months to set up. It was rescheduled multiple times, and it is still one of my favorite interviews ever on the show with Neil deGrasse Tyson, who of course runs the Hayden Planetarium, is known for being on PBS and all sorts of different science specials, and is just an all-around good guy. We had Neil deGrasse Tyson on the show. The full interview is, of course, on our YouTube channel. Let's check out a little bit of my interview with Neil deGrasse Tyson, audience favorite and one of my personal favorites as well. It's interesting that as the idea of space exploration has become more and more partisan, as you mentioned, we're also seeing the idea of science become much more and more partisan, where there is clearly one political party in this country who seems to kind of resist the influence of science and investigation, and there's one party that, in theory, tends to support it somewhat more. I mean, from your point of view, I'd be fascinated to know, what do you think when you see candidates, particularly in the Republican Party, talk about, well, evolution is one of many theories that is kind of out there, and it's really no different than the theories presented or the ideas presented by religion, for example. Is that a positive thing for the country or negative?
I see that as a symptom of the fact that we live in a world today, we live in a country today, where science and engineering are not, they're not folded in to our sense of self and our sense of our identity, as they were back during the heyday of the Apollo program. During Apollo, science was the engine that generated economies. Science and technology were the forces that would enable the tomorrow that you dreamt of to be brought into today. So I assert that 30, 40 years ago, science and engineering was seen and received in a much more welcome way by all aspects of society than it is today. So I'm going to make the audacious assertion that if you double NASA's budget and we go back into space in a big way, advancing a space frontier, then the innovation culture that would exist in NASA to have to realize that frontier will then permeate the country. And it's that innovation culture that makes people wealthy. And when that happens, people then see the value of science and engineering, and I think all these debates go away.
Do you really? So you think that some of these kind of incredible debates about the science of, of global warming, or the exact time at which someone is a person as it comes to conception and the abortion debate, I mean, all of these things you think might be just pushed absolutely out of the mainstream if science is taken more seriously?
Yes, because what will happen, I'm not saying they'll go away, but I'm suggesting that right now people don't see or feel what science is doing to them. They've grown accustomed to their iPhone. They've grown accustomed to flying at 500 miles an hour at 31,000 feet. When you advance a frontier, new things are coming at you all the time. Okay, so we do have advances in telecommunications. Yes, I have an iPhone today that 10 years ago I'd be burnt at the stake for wielding if I was discovered holding one. So not that society does not have advances, but the kinds of advances that come about from grand epic adventures, that's a whole other scale. And when that scale pervades culture, then it becomes part of how we think about the world. The world is not just what I want it to be. The world is as it is revealed to us through the methods and tools of science.